Do or do not, there is no try. This famous line, hit cinema in 1980, and it changed not only the cinematic history, but global pop culture as a whole. These infamous words were said by a green little alien known as Yoda to Star Wars fans alike and beyond. A great Jedi Master who lived as peacekeeper of the galaxy, who tried to uphold the ways of the warrior monks as best as he could. It's been more than 40 years since this line has first been introduced, and yet it's still one of the most recognizable lines in cinematic history up till today. Though the line itself may be simple and the scene it's set in is pretty straightforward, but I think because of its deep spiritual roots is what really kind of attract audiences to not just the line but like the whole philosophy behind it. Star Wars is famous for getting inspiration from various sources. We're talking about from Buddhism, Bushido, Islam, and even Taoism. Because of all these influences, I believe this is why the line is still very relatable and impactful up till even today. Now let's kind of look at the scene where this line originated from and kind of dissect it a little bit and try to understand the wisdom that it's trying to impart towards its audience. Okay, so this line from Yoda comes from the training sequence between him and Luke Skywalker on the planet Dagobah. See, Luke was looking for a way to train in becoming a great warrior or a Jedi Knight, and he was looking for a grand Jedi Master. So when he first meets Yoda, he doesn't realize that Yoda was his great Jedi Master not only because of his size, but because of how Yoda was behaving. And Yoda acted like a bumbling fool, just pretended like he was just this idiot who doesn't take anything seriously and knows nothing. You see, at this time of Luke's life, he was just a really hot-headed rebel who just wanted to do everything at hyperspeed. So even though Yoda tried to impart a lot of wisdom to him, but things such as humility, not judging a book by its cover, and keeping an open mind all escaped Luke at this time. And the truth is, his very own ambition of becoming a Jedi Knight is the very thing that's getting in his way of his journey. Now, as most fans remember, during Luke's training, or midway during his training, was that his spaceship, the X-Wing fighter, kinda got deeper into the swamp, which was how he kinda crash landed on Dagobah to begin with. Yoda was training Luke to control his mind, right, at this point, and one of the ways he was doing it was getting Luke to move rocks through the Force with his mind. And as the X-Wing kind of gotten deeper into the swamp, Yoda decided to tell Luke that he should lift it up right now with the Force. To which Luke responded, "Well, lifting rocks is one thing, Master Yoda, but this is totally different." No different. Only different in your mind, was what Yoda responded to Luke. Alright, I'll give it a try. No try. Do or do not. Luke stayed faithful to his words and, try he did. And kind of like, lifted the ship or the X-Wing a little bit and before it completely sinks all the way down into the swamp. And then he was just like completely devastated. He goes to Master Yoda and said he can't do it. It's like it's too big and all that. And then Yoda just decided to use the Force and move the X-Wing in this beautiful scene that, I remember as a kid watching you just go like, oh man, look at it, the X-Wing just kind of floats around and it's moved by this little green alien. And Luke looked at it and he was like, I don't believe it. And Yoda concluded, well, that is why you failed. One of the reasons why I feel like the fans really love this interaction is partly because it's talking about a problem that all of us have faced to a certain degree. Overthinking. That's perhaps one of the most common problems that all of us are facing, especially in this day and age. Getting lost in our thoughts could never be easier today, If you think about how our daily lives are structured, from the emails that we're getting and all these notifications of just the news and all sorts of like celebrity gossips day in and day out, of course it can cause a lot of unnecessary stress and anxiety. The tools we initially designed to make our lives easier has made it more difficult for us to just be. Looking at Luke in Empire Strikes Back, you can see a very different version of him, compared to the one in A New Hope or even in Return of the Jedi. At this point of Luke's life, he kind of lost a mentor figure in the form of Obi-Wan Kenobi who had passed in A New Hope. So you see, in Empire, right, Luke was a little bit more cocky after blowing up the Death Star in A New Hope. And I think, this cockiness really stems from his confidence was really coming off from very shaky grounds. He's unsure at this point if he could ever become a Jedi Knight, you know, like his father before him with the passing of Obi-Wan. So therefore, there's really a lot going on his mind. Man, I mean, if you think about it, of course the guy has a lot going on in his mind, right? The rebels are always running from base to base. The Empire has occupation control over most of the known galaxy. It's still an uphill battle and can overwhelm even the most well-trained soldier, let alone a farm boy turned rebel fighter, man. So when he gets to Dagobah, there's this sense of urgency on Luke's part to get things done there and then. Therefore, he's not fully focused on the task at hand. As Yoda rightly puts it, never his mind on where he was or what he was doing. Since his mind is always elsewhere, he did not fully benefit from Yoda's training on Dagobah, which ultimately led to his defeat with Vader on Cloud City. This is pretty much the story of my life, you know? I've spoken a lot about Luke's journey and kind of the importance of the lesson from the film Empire Strikes Back and all this, but yet I still find it really difficult for me to make that jump myself. Overthinking is something which just plagues my day, you know, and as much as I try to fight it, sometimes the worse it just gets. Therefore, keeping my mind to kind of stay on the task at hand is something that I really want to learn in how to just kind of practice on a more consistent basis. Yoda's lesson on this matter is something that a lot of warrior class tends to talk about. Keeping mindfulness is like an ethos that's really practiced by the monks from Shaolin or even the samurais, right? Up till this day, even if you were to talk to UFC fighters, they say that, being mindful of the task and the training at the time is what's really important. As Bruce Lee once said, a good martial artist does not become tense, but ready. Not thinking, yet not dreaming. Ready for whatever may come. This is the lesson from Yoda to Luke all this while. With all the crazy things that's happening in his world, from the backdrop of the rebellion and all these things that he just has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, Yoda is really trying to teach Luke to control his mind and his emotions. Because if he gets that right, everything else will just come naturally to him, like a state of flow. Getting into this state of flow in the real world may not be about moving X-Wing fighters or rocks with our minds, but it's a lot about being able to move our minds from one thought to the next and not being too stuck or overwhelmed by any particular thought, whether it's sadness or happiness. So the next time you find yourself in this kind of overthinking state, just, keep in mind, do or do not. There is no try. That's all the popcorn wisdom we have for today, and this is Rizwan Azali, signing out. Right, so I have a little request today to call in my production assistant that's helped out for this video, the cameraman behind that little corner. Ryan, come in. He's in here for a visit from Melbourne. And also today, his brother. Hello, say hi, Raimi. Hi, boys. Okay, have you guys seen Star Wars? No? Okay, we gotta watch Star Wars after this.
Ask who's better, Messi or Ronaldo.
Why do you want to ask that question?
Because I want to see people who like Messi or Ronaldo. Comments.
Okay, fine.
Who's better, Messi or Ronaldo?
Alright guys, so if you are watching this, I suppose I want to say please, what do we say on YouTube? Subscribe. And like the video, I suppose. Alright, thanks guys. Till the next video. Bye.
Peace. My name is John.